Let's talk about something you might have noticed if you've ever handled a power inverter. Why are some of them so incredibly heavy? We're going to dig into why that weight isn't a downside. In fact, it's a kind of superpower, especially when you're dealing with huge, sudden demands for power.
Right? Have you ever picked one up and it feels like nothing, while another one feels like it's practically bolted to the floor? It's a massive difference, and we're about to explore why that isn't just about old tech versus new tech. There's a really good reason for it.
See, all that extra heft is there for one absolutely critical reason: to handle immense power surges and to do it safely. That weight is a feature, not a bug. It's designed to absorb the kind of electrical punch that would just obliterate a lighter system. It's all by design.
To really get this, we need to look at the two main players in the inverter game. You can think of them as the heavyweight champion and the featherweight contender.
So on one side, you've got the low-frequency inverter. That's our tank. It's built around a huge, heavy, laminated transformer, and its whole purpose in life is to take a hit with some seriously robust surge handling. And on the other side, the high-frequency inverter. It's got a small, light ferrite core, which makes it super efficient for just normal, everyday use. But you throw a big surge at it, it just can't handle it.
And that really gets to the heart of it. The big secret to their different sizes, their weight, and how they perform, it all comes down to one component: the transformer. It really is the soul of the machine.
Okay, so what is this surge that we keep talking about? Well, every good story needs a villain, right? And in the world of electronics, our villain's name is inrush current. Inrush current is that gigantic split-second flood of electricity that a device screams for the moment you flip the switch. You know, like when you start a well pump or an air conditioner or some big power tool. That initial kick, that's the inrush current. And listen, we're not talking about a small jump here. The surge from firing up a motor can be 3, 4, 5 times, or honestly even more, than the current it needs just to hum along. It's a massive but very temporary demand on your whole system. Just look at this. It really puts it into perspective. Say your motor normally runs at a steady 10 amps. Well, that startup surge could spike all the way to 50 amps. Your inverter has to be able to deliver that 50 amp punch without tripping a breaker, melting down, or just failing completely. And this is where our heavyweight champion just shines. That massive laminated transformer acts like a giant electrical shock absorber. Its pure physical mass and magnetic properties can literally soak up that sudden burst of energy without getting overwhelmed. The lighter, high-frequency inverter, it just doesn't have the physical ability to absorb a hit like that.
Okay, so that's the science behind it. But what does this all mean for you and your setup? Let's get practical and talk about how to build a system that can actually tame that surge. We can break this all down into 5 pretty simple, essential steps. You got to check your inverter's surge rating, figure out what your potential inrush current is going to be, make absolutely sure your wiring is up to the task, use the right fuse, and then be smart about how you actually turn things on. Let's walk through them.
First things first, you have to look at your inverter spec sheet. It's going to have 2 numbers, a continuous rating and a surge rating. That surge rating is the manufacturer telling you point blank how big of a punch your inverter can take for a few seconds. That number is your ground zero. And for those of you who want to geek out just a little, it's all governed by a simple formula: I equals V over Z. Now, the most important letter here for our conversation is Z, the impedance. You can think of it as the transformer's built-in ability to resist that sudden flood of current. A big, heavy, low-frequency transformer is designed to have the right kind of impedance to handle that inrush safely. All right, this next one is a huge safety step. Your wires absolutely must be thick enough to handle not just the normal running current, but that peak surge current. If your wires are too small, they'll get hot, they'll melt, and they can easily start a fire. This is not the place you want to cut corners. So how do you make sure your wires are beefy enough? A really good rule of thumb is the 1.25 times safety factor. It just means that your wire's official current rating, it's called ampacity, should be at least 25% higher than the continuous current you expect it to carry. That extra buffer is crucial for dealing with heat and those surges.
And finally, the last couple of steps kind of go hand in hand. You've got to protect the whole system with a correctly rated fuse. That's your final line of defense. And, use a little common sense. Don't try to start your air conditioner, your well pump, and your big table saw all at the exact same time. Even the biggest, baddest transformer has its limits.
Now, we absolutely have to end this with a serious conversation about safety. We're talking about massive amounts of electrical energy here, and with that kind of power comes very real peril.
I want you to really let this sink in.
We're showing this as a direct quote for a reason. An uncontrolled surge current hitting an undersized wire is one of the quickest ways to start a dangerous electrical fire. The risk is real, and it is absolutely severe.
So here are the non-negotiable rules. Always wear the right safety gear. Always kill the power at the breakers before you touch anything. And remember, these big transformers can hold a dangerous charge even when they're off, and most importantly, never, ever bypass a fuse or use a wire that's too small for the job. If you have any doubt about any of this, please just call a qualified professional.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. Take a hard look at your own setup, the equipment you want to run, the wiring connecting it all, and ask yourself, after everything we've just talked about, is your system truly ready for the surge?